All right, welcome back to the Coffee Monday podcast. And I know you're super excited to learn more about our next guest. But before we dive in, firstly, we got to talk coffee. Of course, Dutch Bros coffee to be specific. Fall is here, guys, ready or not. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited for some sweater weather. That said, you would think that when the weather cools down, I would transition to some hot coffee drinks, but that's not necessarily the case. I love a good iced coffee moment year round. And one of my favorite local coffee spots is Dutch Bros, and they've recently come out with all of their fun fall additions to their drinks. Everyone always asks me what I order at Dutch, and honestly, I switch it up. This fall, I'm loving a good iced Golden Eagle, half sweet, with oat milk, and then I treat myself to a festive soft top. They have a new pumpkin pie soft top that is truly divine. If you don't know what a soft top is, it's like a light, sweet, fluffy cream that rests on the top of your iced drink. They also have other yummy fall drinks if that's not your thing. They have a pumpkin cold brew, pumpkin pie cold brew, a pumpkin pie latte, and you can pair any of those with the festive pumpkin pie soft top. So if you're in the mood for a festive coffee craving, I highly recommend swinging into one of those Dutch Bros drive-thrus or visiting their Dutch Bros coffee truck at the Fresno Fair, available until October 15th. Visit at Dutch Bros Fresno on Instagram for more info on all their fun drinks. Coffee Monday is more than a podcast. It's a movement to reshape the way we approach Mondays and the week ahead. It's about embracing the reality that work doesn't have to dominate our lives. It's about finding that sweet spot where passion, purpose, and a cup of motivation connect. Filmed and recorded in California's Central Valley, join me, your host, Ray Pardini Matson, as I invite thriving professionals to share their stories of how they're crafting a life that's both vibrant and balanced. Well, I think we're just going to dive in. Jessika, I'm so excited to have you here. My personal friend, somebody I love doing the working mom life with. Very talented hairstylist and salon owner of Dama Salon.
Thank you for having me.
Which I'm going to toot your horn since I know you won't. Recently was voted the best hair salon in Fresno by Fresno Bee's People's Choice Awards, right?
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So cool.
Thank you.
And very well deserved. So tell me, how did you get into the hair beauty industry? Did you know you always wanted to be a hairstylist?
Like from a young age, I was always that little girl doing like my mom's hair, my sister's hair. I remember like as when I was little, if my sisters didn't let me do their hair, like because they would get annoyed sometimes because I'd want to do it all the time. I'd get upset, you know.
Yeah.
So I just seriously since I could remember, like that is what I wanted to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
And did you go to school locally? Because you're from like
I'm
Tulare.
from Tulare.
Yeah.
Well, born and raised in Tulare, raised in Tipton. It's like a little town.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
This farmer town.
Yeah.
But I actually started in Estes. It was a school in Visalia, and I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt like the inspiration was not there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when I found Paul Mitchell. It was a partner school then, not the school it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like core number 8, which was brand new. And walked in, and everyone was wearing black. Everyone just like looked so cool. And I was like, I want to go to this school. So I started in Estes and then finished at Paul Mitchell and then ended up staying in Fresno.
Love it.
Yeah.
And mom of 2 beautiful babies.
Yes.
Sebastian and Valentina. How you and Jesse, you were telling me recently, you guys were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes. I knew him when I was like in grade school. He was my brother's friend. And then,
Cute.
you know, you're in grade school. And then we reconnected in high school. And yeah, then we've been high school sweethearts.
So sweet. So you guys are in Fresno. You graduate from beauty school and you're like, okay, going to work for a salon, right? Would be like the natural next step.
Yeah. So I was still working. Like I was one of the only girls in beauty school too that had a job. So a beauty school then was like a job. It was 9 to 5. So I was going to school Tuesdays through Saturday, and Saturdays were mandatory. This is not a thing anymore. The salon culture has changed so much since like I first started back in the early 2000s. So if you didn't go to school on a Saturday, you would get like points taken off or hours taken off. So I would make sure. So I honestly finished within 11 months. That was like the fastest you could go because I did not want to miss a day.
Yeah.
So sorry, is this gonna be edited?
You're good. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't planning on it, but that's okay. Sorry. Life, mom brain, all the things. Oh my
God, mom brain.
So you finished in 11 months, less than a year. Super impressive.
Yeah.
You went as many days as you could.
I went as many days, and I also had a job, and it was at a shoe store, and that was when the mall was like it. Yeah. And I was working at this store called Marche, so I would go to school Tuesday through Saturday, 9 to 5, and then work from 5:30 to 9:30. I had no life during that time, so.
I know, right?
And then I also had to find a way after school, like, to assist. So I wanted to be an assistant.
Like hands-on.
Hands-on, yeah. So once I graduated, I found someone that I like wanted to assist for, and then.
How was that? I mean.
So I still had, it was a lot, but he was great, and I assisted for him. It was Planet Hair, and that was when like River Park and all the like you just relied on walk-ins. Social media was not a thing.
Yeah, wow.
So that's you grow just kind of organically, word of mouth, and I assisted him, and then went on my own for shortly after that.
As a full-time stylist?
Not yet. The way he did it, it was hourly, then commission, and then a full-time stylist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had worked for other salons?
No, he was, so.
No, I mean you were at other salons, I guess what I'm trying to get at is how did you go from working for other salons to deciding you wanted to just own your own?
I had to get to like a low point. I was like so burnt out. It was like a burnout. Like when I worked from, in a way, it didn't go from like salon to salon. Yeah. I just went from like 3 different salons, and then finally I got to a point where I was like working 5 days a week. So like I felt so burnt out. I was like, there has to be more. And I just felt like I was working harder and not smarter. And I also, it was at a time in my life where I knew I wanted to have children. My husband and I, we've gotten married.
Okay.
And I have to be like, how can I make income without being behind the chair? So it was a lot of different factors. And then without even thinking I wanted to own a salon, it kind of just happened,
Really?
Yeah.
So how'd you find the space, La Dama 1.0?
So, gosh, how did I find it? We had just gotten back from vacation, and my husband and I we lived right next to that salon, so we'd walk to that Starbucks, and
it was on Somerville and Perrin.
And he's like, hey, I saw this on. He's also he like loves real estate, so he's also a part-time real estate agent. So he's always looking at the market, whatever. He's like, I saw the salons for sale. So we just like walk in, talk to the owner, and it literally just happened so fast.
So meant to be.
Yeah, it
and
really
you were
was.
There at that location for how long?
For 6 years, almost 6 years.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then recently had the opportunity to be at the Row, which is the spot to be. Very cool. So fun. And that was a leap, right?
Yeah.
To kind of build out your own space, and like, is the space, it's significantly bigger.
Not significant. I feel like you think it would, I think it's just like high ceilings, but.
Yeah. Okay. So it's similar in size, but still like you had to do the whole build out. Tell me about that.
Yes. So, that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for COVID, really, because I mean, I kind of felt like when we were in the space, I felt like we were already growing out of it because it was already so tight in this. And then like I was already having these feelings, and then COVID happened, and we had to seriously shut down. Like,
I know. Tell me about that. I feel like it was, it was a roller coaster for everyone.
Yeah, that was just a lot. Oh my goodness. Having to, like, we just had so many, like, small businesses got hit really hard, So we had 3 different shutdowns, but going back. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like at some point I remember, I feel like, and we'll kind of dive into this later, but like, some industries are more competitive than community driven, right? And I feel like truly, at least from a client's perspective, the hair salon industry kind of has a way of potentially being a little bit competitive and like, you know. And so I just loved how you and other salon owners approached COVID as like a community. I remember you guys were like, were you like rallying or doing something?
Yeah, we did. Yes.
Protesting or something to like open. And I thought that was really cool. I remember seeing pictures and videos of you with other local salon owners being like, okay, we're not above this. Like, we're all in this together.
Yes,
you
and
know?
I feel like there's been so much of that right now too. Like I feel like back when I started doing hair, like I feel like it was so competitive. Like you just don't share your secrets. Salon owners don't mess with each other. Like there's just like, you know, a frenemy kind of thing. But I feel like it's totally changed, and I'm so happy it has, because I feel like I've made friends with so many salon owners, and I feel like that's how it should be, because there's enough for everyone, you know. So yeah, Anna from Retreat, she like put it all together, and I was like, absolutely, like,
so
you know,
sweet. Yeah, she's so community driven too, and education forward. That's so cool. So anyway, how did COVID ignite your moving locations? I'm curious, how do those two things tie together?
I lived at the time, I lived right by both locations. Our new location is not even a mile away on
it's that close,
Shepherd and Bill. Yeah, so close. So when we'd go walks, because what do you do during COVID? We would walk, and it was like during April-ish, you know, when so the weather was beautiful, and my son Sebastian was a year and a half, so we would go on walks every single day, and we'd go around that building. And I remember seeing the apartments were already done, and then they brought down, like, while we would be taking walks every day, they brought down the green like tarp thing, and I was like, oh, it's commercial. And then I saw a number, and I was like, and then I would just like look around, and I was like, this is a great area. I was like, it's always really busy. I love our location, but I felt like it was a little hidden, you know. And I was like, I just saw the potential immediately. So I just took a photo of like the number on there, gave them a call, and
that's amazing.
It went from there.
That's amazing.
So it was because we were taking walks, and I saw.
I was going to say, these walks are very productive.
Yeah, they are. You're so right. I know.
I spoke with Vincent Ricciuti recently, and his family is one of the developers for the area. And it's really cool how they have a very intentional way of wanting to support local.
Yes.
So I feel like the Dama is very much surrounded by local concepts at the row. That's super cool.
I absolutely love that.
How
I love
fun.
that they're keeping it, you know, super local, and just, it's a good community. I think it's a great
That's
location.
Awesome. But scary as a business owner. Let's
absolutely.
be real.
Without
right?
even knowing that all like four corners were eventually going to get developed, like I just saw the potential of it. So it was definitely a huge.
So you were essentially given a blank slate, though. How was that as somebody who, well, and you were also building your home at the same time?
Oh my God, yeah. It was
building your home, building your salon. Were you pregnant with Valentina or had her?
I was like in the works of with the row, but like, so because of COVID, everything's like everything was so delayed. So by the time I got to like the build out, I already had her.
Okay. I see. You had maybe secured the space prior.
Exactly. Prior, and then got pregnant. By the time the build out was ready, I had her. COVID happened. My dad passed away from COVID. Like it was just a lot, you know. So crazy. Having to juggle all that. I mean, I think of it now that I'm like in a better place. I'm like, you're just like in survival mode, you know?
Have you ever like built a home before or gone through like a building? I know. No. I feel like that is so overwhelming.
I seriously went into it blind. Like I hear this all the time, but I like learned as I went. I had no idea what I was doing, like none. And I feel like I get asked this all the time, like, were you scared? I'm like, absolutely. You know. And also like, you know, when inflation happened in 2021, so we got a quote in 2020 when I was like securing the space and leasing, and I brought a contract. I was like, I just want to see how much this is going to cost me. Like, I want to see if this is doable, affordable. And back in 2020, it was, because, you know, everyone was kind of scared, you know, you don't know. And the price from 2020 to 2021 or late 2021 or early 2022, it was 2022, completely like hundreds of thousands.
Oh, I'm sure. Our
So.
world was in a different place. You know,
it's completely.
So that's hard. So then you have to honor the increases and just where our world was, and then And on top of that, you're running your current salon.
I know.
So that's cray-cray. But you did it, and it's stunning, and it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And we'll share pictures of it because it's just amazing. So I'm trying to remember, when did you move into the new salon? And I feel like there was a little bit of overlap there, right? Like you had stylists, or no, you gave them a few days off in between. How'd you actually do the move?
The transition actually was pretty good. I feel like I wanted them not to feel it at all. I didn't want them to have like a whole week off. So I really feel like it's all kind of a blur sometimes, you know, because
I know, right?
It's going to be a year on Wednesday for a new location. So,
amazing.
I feel like I had to be out because the new owner, like on a certain date. So I wanted that to be our last. And then I was pushing the contractors like a lot. And I was like, we have to be done by this day, or we have to have it city approved, even though it was not done. Like a lot of things when we moved in were still like, you know,
let's go.
Yeah. I had no benches. I didn't have like a front desk. I didn't have a front desk. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Mirrors, I feel like we're coming.
Like things were just still coming in, but I just needed to get it approved by the city. If we could do that, then we could still move in and work, and we could do everything. So that's how it happened. So I pushed the contract. I was like, we just have to get city approved. And yeah, they did. They got it. So really, I think there was only like that weekend off, and then they came, and I wanted to show it to them first, and it was like a Sunday, and then they started working on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So the transition for them, I think, was I was trying to make it as like easy as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you've done such a great job.
Thank
Obviously
you.
with the physical beauty of the salon,
Thank
but I
you.
feel like the vibe is like so positive. Like there's one thing that I think all women and people can agree on, which is you don't ever miss a hair appointment.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you got to move things around a hair appointment, right? And it's a true treat.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
And it's such a positive vibe, and you've done such a great job of that. How has that been for recruiting stylists that have similar outlook as you do, like a positive, community-driven, thought with that?
Thankfully, I've had my girls for a while. I've had some that have been with me since the beginning.
That's amazing.
When I first opened this, it was just me and my assistant, and I literally going in not knowing what we're doing.
I know. So how did you grow?
So I've been in the business already almost 20 years. So I've worked with a lot of stylists, and I think obviously I knew I had to build like a name for myself and like reputation, and I knew that was going to take time. So in the middle, like I had some girls follow me from other salons that I knew would fit the brand or like fit the culture, the salon culture that I wanted.
Yeah.
And
which is what?
Just a positive, like a non-catty, cliquey salon, and just a culture that everyone helped each other, that everyone was willing to like gift for me. Like just one of my proudest moments, honestly, was going in a salon is I was working and we help each other out, like say shampoo, blow dry. If someone's double booked, and I can see it in their face that they're like flustered, their client's waiting, and one of the girls, she had that, but I couldn't help her. I was doing my own client. Normally I don't care. I will totally help. She was walking out, she was saying bye, she had her bags packed, everything, and she looks at her and she's like, do you need help? And she takes her bags off and she helps her, and I could have cried because that was like the proudest
mama moment.
Such a proud mama moment, because this is what I wanted, and that's like the culture I wanted to create, because she just wants to go home. No one wants it, you know what I mean? But just seeing her, and she's like, absolutely. Just with a simple shampoo, like helps out so much. A simple like blow dry. So when I saw that, and I was like, oh my God, because I even felt flustered for her because I see the client waiting, and sometimes if we just run late and it happens as much as we try to be on time,
No, that's so special.
So yeah.
And I feel like, so how do you just have created that? I think have led by example, right?
Yes, and I think that's huge. Now being a salon owner and also like being someone that's worked at a salon, like I just know it really is the salon owner. Like I have to create we all have things in life, but we have to come in and leave that at home and come in with like a positive attitude, just lead by example. Also, I am one to always help anyone. If I am not doing anything, if I see someone, I will shampoo. So I want them to see that they can do it to each other, 100%. Help each other out too. And even like the new people, I had this one experience when I first worked at my first salon, and I think this is why, because I remember asking her. It was the simplest question, and it left me kind of traumatized in the beginning because I asked her and I got in trouble for it and then she was like, I'm not here to help, the new stylist. Yeah.
Stop.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And then the owner had to talk to me after work because he's like, you just don't ask. You have to ask me. And I'm like, I didn't think it was like such a big deal. So I just don't want anyone to feel that because I know how that feels when you first start. You just question everything. You question every color. You question every placement, every foil. So all the assistants that we've had, like I want them to feel so welcome and open to like ask us anything because we're here to help and we know how you feel,
Well, yeah. I mean, I
don't want them to feel how I felt like that one moment.
Well, and that's like stuck with you.
It stuck with me for sure. And
I feel like too, I don't know, we've known each other for years. I don't know how long, but a long time. And we've been in business for a similar, had our own businesses for a similar amount of years. So that's fun that we can share that together. But I feel like over the years, you'll have an assistant and then like next time I see you, they'll have their own chair. And it's like so cool.
That makes me so happy. That's a huge
that's a huge testament to your teachings and your open, education kind of mindset, which is sweet.
It's bittersweet because they go fast, in a good way,
Right? Like your latest assistant already has like a full book of business.
Absolutely. And she went to school during COVID. So she had to learn. So she started school January of 2020 and then got shut down March of 2020. So went to school for and then right when she was going on the floor, it got shut down and she had to do everything virtual for a hands-on business. She didn't. So when she came to the salon, she knew we had to teach her everything.
Yeah,
because
it's different when you actually do it in person.
Actually shampoo or cut or even apply color. And look at her now.
Yeah,
like she's
full book of business, killing it. That's amazing. One thing you shared with me too, just in conversation, is, and I love this so much, and I'm going to quote you on it.
Yeah.
You want to be known as like the Ted Lasso of the hair industry,
absolutely.
Which I love that.
Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso. You like want to hate him, but you can't. You just he does his thing, like
warms your heart.
Yeah, it warms your heart, and the way he, it's unconventional. I guess the way he runs his I think the way I do it is not the norm, but I'm trying to make it the norm.
I love that.
So
just more open communication,
absolutely.
Positivity.
I know,
supportive.
That's what I knew when I opened this, and I was like, we can make a positive salon. Cool. There can be, and we can create it. And I think it starts with the owner, really, because it's the owner that has to, if you see someone that's like the toxic, you gotta approach that and let. So
well, and I'm telling you, anybody that walks, steps foot through your doors feels just the positive energy.
Oh, that's
so it's like
compliment.
To set the stage. It's beautiful white, kind of Spanish style decor, but a really cool modern twist. Lots of beautiful like rounded archways that very much go in line with your branding, which is super gorge. And you have like all Dyson products, which I noticed as a Dyson fan. So want to talk about that?
Yes, I am a huge Dyson fanatic. So I use all things Dyson, and I just believe in their products so much. I had this one, not my client, but one of the girls' clients. She came into the back, and she was just like, my client's hair is like, I don't know what's going on. It's like breaking off, but there's no, like, I'm not doing anything to do it, break it off. So I wouldn't go talk to her, and I was like, what are you using at home? Because like salon grade products, that's huge. Like
100%
huge. Just like skincare, anything, And then we started talking. I was like, well, what kind of tools do you use? And I was like, well, like, what do you have as your blow dry? She's like, and I was like, how long have you had it? She's like, about 20 years. I'm like,
20 years.
I was like, no, just because it turns on, it needs to go.
It needs to go. Probably frying her hair.
Yeah, it's frying her hair. That's what it was. She stopped using it. Within a few months, her hair was growing back. It was for sure the technology with like the heat, like just because it's still hot and it turns on doesn't mean it's still good for your hair,
Right. So you have the Dyson blow dryers, Dyson curling irons, right?
Their Air Wrap, yeah.
Hair wrap,
their Air Wrap, yeah. Their strainer, they just came out with their Air Straight that it's like strains your hair, but it's like air technology, so it's healthier for the hair. I can't wait to try all the things. Yeah,
you need to be like a Dyson exclusive salon. Is that a thing? You need to make
but I want to make it a thing. You're hearing it here first.
Manifest that.
Dyson Salon, exclusive Dyson Salon. I'm gonna pitch it to them. I'm gonna manifest it for sure. I'm going to work with him somehow, you know?
I love that.
I give enough content. You know, I started doing all these videos for my client because I felt like I was convinced, like I was honestly convincing them to buy this air wrap, and it's like not a cheap, it's $600. So
it's an investment.
I felt I had to teach them how to use it. So I make these videos, you know, and this is when I was like, you know, I'm going to start making these videos for my clients because I'm convincing them to buy this product, and they're either not using it, it's just sitting there, or they feel really overwhelmed, you know, or they're not using it to the best of their to their hair type, because it's not like one type fits all. So everyone's hair type's different, so you can use different attachments. So I started to tell them to like bring it to their appointment, and we can fit more time, so I can teach them how to use it.
Love that.
Yeah, so it really helps them. So I'm like, because if I make a video and it's for my hair, it's not going to be for your hair that's like fine or straight, you know. So I started making this content. So
you're doing great on social. We need to talk about that. Like you stay so creative with your content. Are you doing it? I know. Like, are you doing that all yourself? Do you have help? Is it a team effort?
Yes, I do it all myself.
It's amazing.
I edit it all myself.
You do a great job.
During COVID, when Reels just started coming out, the video and TikTok and stuff, I was like, you know, I have to be like a step ahead this time. Like, I want to be I'm going to learn how to make videos on. I remember. So, and then I got this app called InShot, and I was like, I'm going to learn how to make a video. I was up till like 4 a.m, just learning how to, because I wanted to know how to do, and it was the very beginning of COVID. Like and now I feel like I can make videos so quickly.
You do such a great job.
And that's just
at Dama Salon on Instagram. Do you guys have a TikTok?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you post, I dabble on TikTok, clearly. I'm a big Instagram gal.
I post a lot on TikTok actually, and I find it easier to grow there faster. This summer, I think I took a break not knowing I was going to take a break, but it kind of just happened with kids. And I was
going to say kids.
Yeah, I'm glad I did. I wanted to really, you know,
slow down.
Yeah, because the last year was just a lot. Building out the salon was took a lot of mental space, you know. So
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So kind of transitioning to mom life a little bit, since you just brought it up. I feel like that's a nice transition. How old are the kiddos? Sebastian he's 5,
and then my daughter's 2.
So now they're kind of in more like set school schedules. Like, how do you structure let's start with one day at a time. How do you structure a work day when you're working in the salon?
A work day. So I feel like I'm just entering this like new season, because I did have a nanny for 5 years, and her last day was
amazing.
Just 3 weeks ago. She was such a huge support system, but at that time I was either with the kids or at work, so I would have her 3 days a week. Now that Valentina's 2, she started Brighton, because they take 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I figured I need to make time for like myself now, or do because I just never had time for like a doctor's appointment, because I was either like at work
working or with the kids. 100%.
So now I feel like I'm like entering a good season, because I drop off Sebastian in the morning, and it's in like our community. We live in Riverstone, so
amazing.
It's so nice. It's like a minute away. Drop him off, then I drop off Valentina, and then I get to work. My work day starts like at 10, and I get there early now because I drop her off like 8:30. So now I have time to get coffee. I feel like before I would like kind of rush, and
necessity.
Yeah.
What do you drink? What's your go-to coffee drink?
I drink a grande hot latte.
Hot latte.
Yeah.
Regular milk.
Regular milk. Yeah. Simple, easy.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to have it every morning. So,
yeah.
And I'm like one of those girls that has to have a hot coffee. I don't care if it's like 110 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Like,
same.
It's always a hot coffee.
Same.
I know that's so
I feel like it just hits different in the morning.
Yeah,
even if it, to your point, is 100 degrees out. But now we're entering sweater weather. So perfect time.
I know. It's so nice.
Love that. Love that. Okay. So you have your coffee. You dropped off your Sebastian. This is a work day, right?
This is a work day, and then I go to work.
Does your husband drop off Valentina, or do you do both?
No, I do both.
You do both?
I do both, because he's at work early, and I can do both.
Yeah.
Since I'm not at work I don't have to start my day till like 10, so I have the time and I can do that.
Great.
So,
amazing.
Yeah, and then I find myself now like having time to get there before work and not rushing, and just like, responding to emails or like returning messages, inquiries,
amazing.
and
yeah,
it's nice.
So nice to take a little deep breath before you start your busy day.
Exactly.
And then you're fully booked. So something that I'm very intrigued by that I want to chat about is the fact that you are very consciously not taking on any new clients.
I know.
I can't tell you how many times somebody's been like, who do you go to? I want to go to her. And I'm like, well, she's not taking any new clients, but you're really great about referring to other stylists at your salon, depending on what they're going for. Too. Or stylists at other salons. That's amazing. Best fit for the client. But how did you come to that point of like making that conscious decision of like, yeah, not right now?
Yeah, you know what? I am totally going against the grain here too, because if I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of hairstylist podcasts, and they would say never stop taking new clients because that's just not what you do financially. Like you just can't, because you can charge like top dollar for new clients and this, and that's not the way I want to work. I want to build relationships with my clients, and I just feel like you can, because if you have an honest conversation, they know inflation, like, and you just like, hey, cost has gone up, this has gone, you know what I mean? These are my new set prices, like,
and you have a relationship with that person. You're doing business with
that person. And
honestly,
98% of my clients are like, absolutely, and they're so supportive and so great about it, and I love that, and I love to know like who I'm gonna walk into, and like just even knowing their family, their kids, everything, and
you got to know my kids, especially Liv, when she decided to cut her own hair.
That was
God
you know
bless
how many
you.
I get of those. It's so
my
it's
God.
The sweetest.
Yeah, Liv, 4 years old. I'm not
you.
even joking you. I was sending an email, maybe 2 minutes.
Oh my God, it happens so much.
Sitting in the living room, and she's in the kitchen, and I hear something, and I thought it was like her getting like a cup out of the drawer, because they have like little plastic cups. Like the sound kind of sounded like a cup for some reason. So I didn't think anything of it. But then I'm like, okay, it's quiet. And then she's walking by me, and she's going like this with her bangs. Meanwhile, at this point, she wanted to grow her hair long like Ariel, and she wanted to grow out her bangs. So we were in the awkward grow out phase, And I mean, you saw the damage that was done.
You know what?
I mean, so bad.
Because she has such a cute haircut.
So Jessica saved the day, as she always does. I was like, SOS, I know you're the busiest human alive, but I this is beyond me. I cannot do this. So thank you so much for getting her in, squeezing her in, gave her the cutest bob with the cutest bangs, and she's obsessed with her hair now. And it all kind of was a weird blessing in disguise.
Yeah, because they come in like traumatized thinking you're upset, They're like, no. It's hair. It's so cute.
No, to your point, I think it's sweet that you really do get to know your clients and their families, and that's part of building relationships.
Absolutely. So not going back to like, why don't take new clients? That's just the way I run my business. It's like, I feel like you can be honest with your clients, and if they want to grow, then they will. And the ones that don't, then be like, okay, if it doesn't fit your budget or your lifestyle, whatever, then let me refer you to someone else. But I'm telling you, 98% of my clients are totally supportive.
That's
and
amazing.
I just love that. And I can't fit it. I work already 3 days a week, and I can't fit it really in my schedule.
I mean,
right
there's only so many hours in the day.
I want to be with my kids. They're little right now, and
I know. I feel like too, something that's kind of been a recurring thought as a working parent now is like, there's different seasons of it. Like right now they are little, and we're able to like, they actually want to hang out with us and they want to be with us, and they need us.
My son loves
These
to
are
see
like,
me.
very pivotal years. Yeah. But I mean, that may change as they get older or not. I mean, then come all the activities and the extracurricular things. And it's like, oh man, I'm not prepared for that. But I think that's really admirable of you to just be conscious of that and be like, okay, this is my time with my babies. This is my work schedule, setting boundaries,
and really that's a huge part of why I wanted to have a salon too, because I wanted to, figure out how I can still have some kind of an income without like being behind the chair, or like even just having my own schedule too, being self-employed, like, so I can do things like this with my kids,
No, it's so special. So and protecting your time.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm really, because the last 5 years have been a lot where I feel like I'm trying to be more conscious, because I feel like my mindset would have been like, I'm trying to work really hard right now that they don't remember,
I know.
And now it's about, but
He's getting to the age where he's going to start remembering.
Oh, he does.
Stuff,
so I don't want him to just remember me as always working. Do you know?
Fair.
So,
well, I remember at your old salon when you lived close by, they would come over on walks and stuff. It was so cute.
I loved it. I know. So I miss that so much.
And it's sweet for them to see too. You know, this is what mommy's doing all day. You know, so sweet. So you have work until probably kind of late, right? You start at 10, you work till evening, and then are you home by like bedtime? Sometimes not.
Not usually.
I know, right?
Yeah. On those days that I work, they're usually asleep by the time I get home.
Well, because you run a tight ship, which I can totally appreciate.
Yes.
Children are very well sleep trained. They go to bed early. Right?
Yes, my daughter's in bed by 7 p.m. and my son on school at like 7:45. So, yeah, by the time I get home, 8:30, they're asleep. And I want them to be,
amazing.
I want them to be asleep by the time I get home. Just because they thrive on schedule. I think
I think most children do, right? Yeah. Stability and consistency. Yeah. What's funny though? It's like even if my kids go to bed later, they still wake up the same time.
Same.
So why not put them to bed earlier?
Just put them in bed a little later. They'll wake up later. I'm like, no they'll be up by like 6:37 every time. So
Same.
It's like clockwork.
Same.
Which I also like that I know I know their schedule. Like I just know when something's off because I know their schedule so well.
Well, and then you have time with your husband and get stuff done.
Those evenings are so important too.
Yeah, so sweet. So I don't know if I've ever asked you this. What is the significance behind the name La Dama?
Oh, so that means the lady in Spanish, and really it's La Dama, and it comes from it has great meaning in the Mexican culture because it comes from a bingo game that I played as a child called Loteria, and we played when we were kids all the time with our cousins, especially like during the holidays, and I just saw her as like the main character, the businesswoman, the entrepreneur, like the classy lady walking down the street. I don't
Love that.
So when I was thinking of a name, I wanted to bring my culture too.
Yeah.
But something, and that was seriously, I like didn't think twice about it. I told my husband, he's like, oh, I love that. I know,
I love it. It's so great. I just got the chills. That's really cool.
So yeah, it does hold a lot of me. Like any like Hispanic Mexican person will know like what and where it came from.
Say it's really so beautifully. I can totally picture it. It's so pretty.
And yeah,
I love that. So did you grow up speaking Spanish at home?
I did. Okay. Yeah, that was my first language.
And then did you learn English in school?
Well, I'm one of 6, so I feel
that's right. Okay, where do you fall in the line of 6 kiddos?
So by the time my siblings already all knew English, so I feel like I went into school already knowing English.
Okay.
Because my parents I'm first generation of,
That's amazing.
Yeah, my parents are immigrants from Mexico, and everything we built, it's had all the odds against it, but we're here.
That's amazing.
But I feel like by the time I went to school, like I knew a little bit of English because I'm the youngest of 6 and all my siblings already knew English.
And then does your husband speak Spanish?
Yeah, we're both fluent.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I really try really hard to instill that to my kids. My kids like speak Spanish too.
That's a gift. I mean, so cool.
Now
I remember you saying Sebastian did like a dual immersion at one point, right?
He did it last year at Wawona.
Yeah.
And it was a preschool. It was like 3 days a week, but it was really far from us, and I found myself like it was like 2 hours of my day. So it'd be like 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, only for 3 hours a day. It was honestly more of an inconvenience than like because it's just
he's still getting Spanish at home through his family.
Yeah, we try our best.
Me
and my husband, we speak to each other in English, so he hears, he can.
Yeah.
But to him, we speak to him in Spanish, and
I love that.
Yeah, I really want to make him proud and not to forget, because I just find that like as generations go and like they just forget the Spanish and the culture, and I don't want him to forget it.
You're making a conscious decision to not, though, which is really special.
I try.
So, La Dama 1.0 was Somerville and Perrin.
Yes.
La Dama 2.0 at the Row. Very cool. What do you think is next for the brand, for you? Do you have ideas on what you want for like the next phase?
I feel like I want to sit in this for a little bit.
Yeah,
because I'm
rightfully
always
so.
trying to do, like, when we first opened La Dama 2.0, I was like trying to get into content, like do the videos, do all this, and I just found myself so overwhelmed. So, and without knowing, like, I'm still gonna go back to that because I'm doing like product reviews and stuff and the Dyson thing. I'm gonna go back to that, but I'm just trying to take my time, like enjoy what I have done, because sometimes I feel like sit in
celebrate
gratitude.
the wins.
Yeah, I want to like sit in gratitude for a little bit and just really just take a breath.
Well, I feel like naturally like I just asked you the natural next question, right? Like, what's next? That's like when you are dating somebody seriously and they're like, oh, when are you guys getting married? And then you get married and then it's like, oh, when are you guys having kids? It's like,
when you have another one.
I don't know if people just I don't know. I mean, I clearly just asked you what's next. You know what I mean? It's like, I kind of feel like our world is trained to be like always on to something else. So I love that you're just like, no, I'm just going to sit with this, you know? So in closing, I feel like as a female business owner and presented with many challenges along the way, you've continued to prevail. And I would love for you to share any advice, big or small, for somebody who's maybe considering starting their own business or opening their own salon. Like, what advice do you have for them?
I feel like you just have to do it. I know that I hear this, you just have to do it and do it scared. Because people are just like, I'm like, yeah, so you have to do it scared. Like, just, there's not ever going to be a good time, you know? If I would have waited for a good time to do any of it, like, it would have never happened, you know? So I think you have to really believe in what you're trying to build and really believe in it. Like, you know, when I say, like, the mind has everything to do with it. Like, you have to believe in what you're creating is true to yourself and true and everything, but just you have to do it. You just have to take like the little step action, because when I did it, like I wouldn't think of like the long, like what it was going to look like in the long run. I would honestly do like little like what's next? Okay. And then what's next? Okay, let's do this next. Okay, I'm going to do my website next. Okay, I'm going to do this next, you know?
So well, I feel like life has a way of like giving you those opportunities. I love that.
Yeah, do it and do it scared. It's okay to be scared. We don't have to know it all, and it's okay to learn as you go, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Well, because I think that's a reason why a lot of people don't do it is because they're scared. Exactly. Like doing the scary thing is not the easy thing, you know?
If I would have stayed comfortable, I'd still be, you know, just working for someone at a salon or in a solo suite or something, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's a comfortable thing to do, but if you really believe in what you're going to create and truly believe it's going to, you know, you're going to make a difference. Like I knew I could make a difference I could create a culture that is positive and people want to work and people want to go. And there's, you know, the stylists enjoy being there. So
yeah, they do. I know. And I even noticed too with the salon owner that you sold your old location to. I feel like you almost passed the baton of positivity to her. Like it seems like she's thriving too.
She's great. And oh my God, I know she's going to thrive, and that's just going to it's just going to grow from there, because
so sweet.
It makes me so happy to know that she's taken over, because she's just put so much pride into it. And I still drive by it every day because I go to that, you know, that Starbucks. And, but yeah, I love to see her thrive.
That's so great. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I feel like you're such an inspiration, and I just love what you're doing. I love the positivity and the change that you're creating for not only your industry but our community. So thank you for that. And for those that are listening and tuning in, you can still follow Jessika's story at La Dama Salon.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Jess.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
So fun. Thanks for listening. Feel free to rate and review this episode here and connect with us on Instagram if you have any thoughts, questions, or any guest suggestions. Thanks.